See if that does anything. Could be, but I will admit that the one drink gave me a head change.
Yeah,
and I'm drinking vodka sodas.
I
so
agree. I
know.
had one drink. I didn't have anything to eat today. And that one definitely gave me a little bit of a head change.
All for science, guys. We're doing this for you.
You ever seen the Mythbusters episode when they do this?
Oh, is it good?
It's pretty good. I'll send you a link.
Yeah. Oh.
Where'd you go to?
I went to
Holy shit.
Where'd you go?
0.05.
0.05
It's
for
red,
one
dude.
beer?
For one beer. Wow. I don't know. Maybe this thing's not calibrated.
It could be.
I need to call Jeff Salberg.
Yeah.
This podcast may contain views and opinions which are those of the hosts and do not necessarily reflect the official policy or position of any local agency, organization, union, employee, or company, including the podcast.
Welcome back, everybody, and good morning. If you're checking this when we upload, it should be 7 a.m. on Friday. Welcome
Unless
back.
this is the re-upload. I've had to do that a few times.
Yeah, unless it's a re-upload. Welcome back, Sawas. How are you today?
I'm here.
He is here. He is here, folks.
I'm here.
We're glad to have him. We got a returning guest and a very exciting show, information-filled, information-packed show.
We've been
but
waiting to
without
do this one, yeah.
further ado, welcome back, Jeff.
Thank you, guys. Thank you for having me.
Jeff Salberg, for those of you
Appreciate
guys that
it.
don't know.
Yes.
And if you haven't checked it out, please check out his other episodes. They've been great. You've been a great guest. We love having you on.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
And we kind of mentioned this prior. We were excited to do this show, but this is going to be our DUI show.
Yep. Everything DUI, alcohol related. So
Related,
this is going
yes.
to be a good show. And we do not condone drinking and driving. Please don't do any of that. Please use rideshare. Please drink responsibly. This is not exactly like legal advice. We're just giving you some basic information.
Yeah, we'll kind of start there. Obviously, George hit on it. We definitely don't condone drinking and driving. That is not why we're doing this show. We're not trying to give you avenues to get out of a DUI. It's more information for yourself. We have a lot of drivers, Teamsters, a lot of Teamster drivers, and some of the information shared obviously is going to be different for you. If you're a Class A driver, your blood alcohol level is different per the state of California.
Yeah.
So make sure that you understand this is just an information. Jeff is not giving legal advice, although he is an ex-LA sheriff and a current attorney. We're just sharing information, his personal thoughts on things. Everything is subject to interpretation, I guess.
Yes.
Also, like George said, Uber, Lyft,
There's so many avenues now to not have a DUI.
call Sabas.
Yeah, call Sabas.
He'll come pick you up.
It is crazy.
But definitely don't be drinking and driving. Please consume alcohol responsibly. If you have a problem, hit myself or Sabas up, or George, one of your stewards.
Any of your stewards.
Anybody, reach out for help. It's there. I know myself and Sabas, we're always kind of pointing people in the right direction as far as getting help. Just make sure that, you drink responsibly is what we're getting at.
Yeah.
Agreed.
And I guess without further ado, let's kind of get into it. So fun stuff. So we brought a breathalyzer. We kind of wanted to have a couple drinks, and we're not going to get wasted. And yes, George is giving us a ride home today, so I'm not really worried about driving. But we brought this to show what alcohol can do to you. You might not think, 1-2 drinks can affect you, but we're going to go ahead and see how much they affect your blood alcohol level.
Right.
And Jeff, while we drink our first drink, and we will test after that, why don't you give us what I guess the average person, the average drink will do to the average person?
That's a great question. So we'll take, everyone's different, right? It's good to be here. Thank you guys for having me. Everybody's different. boys, girls, depending upon how much you weigh, depending upon your body mass index, depending upon what your metabolism's like. So just as an example, I'll take a 180-pound man, which there aren't a ton of those running around right now. Most dudes are bigger than that, but
America.
100 So a 180-pound man, if he drinks a Bud Light, Coors Light, Miller Lite, a light beer, it's going to bump his BAC 0.02 for every beer. Okay, so glass of wine has more alcohol than, so a 5-ounce pour would be equivalent to one light beer. So a shot and a half or 1.5 ounces of liquor, tequila, vodka, whiskey, would be the same equivalent as a Bud Light, Coors Light, right? So an IPA, you know, a Coors Light or a Bud Light is going to be about 4%. Okay. Some IPAs are up 9, 10, right? Yeah. So they're literally going to be double. Mm-hmm. So that is something people should be thinking about, not just to go get into their car, obviously, but how it's going to affect your body. So in theory, a 180-pound man could have 4 Bud Lights in 1 hour, which that's a pretty good pace. If we're sitting around like we're doing right now or watching a football game or something, 1 beer every 15 minutes is moving right along.
He's not babysitting it.
Yeah.
No. So
nothing's getting cold.
That's a pretty good pace. But that same 180-pound man, as we just sit here, we're not moving around, we're not playing basketball, we're not doing any cardio, anything like that. Average metabolic rate is going to burn about 0.02 per hour. So in theory, that same guy could have 5 beers in 1 hour and be right at the legal limit of 0.08. Okay. So now, having said that, it doesn't matter, even if you had 1 beer.
Which I just finished my first beer.
Okay.
And he's not drinking Bud Light, by the way. It's just a cup. We're not allowed to drink Bud Light right now.
I am drinking Bud Light.
Budweiser, Brewer, and Anheuser-Busch has reached a contract agreement with the Teamsters Union that avoids a strike at the U.S. plants in February of 2024, so we can enjoy a cold beer with peace of mind.
So we'll see. We'll have you blow in the next 10 minutes, and we'll see what that's done to you after finishing that first beer, because you were zeros, so we'll see how that affects you. What a lot of people don't understand, though, is even if you, Sabas, have 1 beer, and I'll be curious to see what it is in the next few minutes, let's just say it bumps you a 0.02, right? Mm-hmm. You're a little heavier than 180, not a lot heavier, so you'll be close maybe. But if you were to go get in your car right now and that 1 beer was to affect or impair your ability to drive your truck safely down the highway, you could be arrested. What a lot of people don't understand is that when you're charged with a DUI in the state of California, most of the time, 99% of the time, you're charged with 2 counts. 23-152A of the vehicle code, which says you were driving under the influence of drugs or alcohol, and then 23-152B, which says you're driving with a BAC, blood alcohol content, of above 0.08 or 0.08 or above. So, but even if you're at a 0.02 and you cannot operate that vehicle safely, you're going to jail.
So if you're at a 0.02 and you get out and I guess the question is, the field sobriety tests actually mean a lot. So if you are at a 0.02 and you're not doing great on the field sobriety test, that can actually lead you.
Absolutely.
Get you in jail.
If the officer ran you through a series of FSTs and then had you blow, and you blew a 0.02, and that officer believed, or deputy sheriff believed, that you were unable to operate a motor vehicle safely, yes, he or she would take you to jail. Wow. And you could be convicted of that under the A count. It's crazy. A lot of people, I've tried cases at 0.06 where the DA wasn't backing down because they believe that the individual was impaired when they were driving. So those can get tricky.
Are all the field sobriety tests recorded?
Most officers, when I was a deputy sheriff, no body cameras a long time ago. Now, yes, everyone's rolling with them. So, yes, they are recorded. But I will tell you, and we're kind of jumping ahead, field sobriety tests are not designed for you to be successful, whether you're sober or whether you've had some drinks.
So it's like a carny ride or a carny game.
Exactly. Yes. They're not designed for that, right? What happens when you get pulled over? So first of all, again, no one should be drinking and driving.
100%.
100%.
But if you're out late at a bar or a club and you leave that club at 1:30 in the morning, or you're rolling through Del Taco and you're coming out, I mean, you are just for cops, it's shooting fish in a barrel, right? Mm-hmm. Most people on the road at that time of night, are probably impaired. They just are. Yeah. To what degree we don't know, but even if you're sober, it's not safe to be on the road at that time of night, unless you absolutely have to be, because the majority of those people out there are going to be impaired. So if a cop pulls you over, he's going or she is going to assume that you've had some alcohol if he pulls you over or she pulls you over at 1, 2 in the morning. So the probable cause to pull you over is important. They must have probable cause to pull you over. What does that mean, right? Were you speeding? Okay, that's one thing. Were you swerving in and out of the lanes? Did you run a red light? Or was it simply because you had a tail light out or you had tinted windows? That's a different level of PC than you swerving in the lanes, right? Okay. That's that type of PC shows that perhaps you're impaired. If a cop sees you at a stoplight and decides to pull you over, doesn't see you driving, I mean, you're behind the wheel, but you're stopped at a stoplight, he pulls up next to you and sees your windows are tinted and decides to light you up and pull you over, well, at 1 o'clock in the morning, okay, he can do that because your windows are tinted. But that's not, he's not witnessing some impaired driving, right? You understand?
I get it.
So what do they do when they first come up to you? Driver's license, registration, proof of insurance. Okay, here comes the first question. You've been drinking tonight. What do most people say?
I've had a couple.
Yeah.
Yep.
Usually, if you've had any
had 2.
amount,
Right.
you're usually like, I've had a beer.
Yep, that's what most people say. So, next question. Where are you coming from? Oh, I'm coming from Shirley's Lounge, Shirley's Bar.
Yeah.
Okay, now you've admitted to drinking and you've admitted to coming from a bar. So now they're going to ask you to step out of the vehicle. And they're going to want to run you through a series of field sobriety tests, which are not designed in your favor, right?
1, 2, 3, 4, 4, 3, 2, 1.
So,
So before you get into that, just really quick, can you deny the field sobriety and just ask specifically for a blood or a breathalyzer test?
absolutely 100%. And I would encourage you to do so. So you don't want to do those. You are under no obligation to run through a series of field sobriety tests, nor are you obligated to do what that is, which is called like a preliminary alcohol screen, a PAS device. So the officers carry those in the field, and they'll have you blow. And oftentimes they'll say, hey, I think you're good. I just want to make sure you're good. So just go ahead and blow into this device right here. Most people go, okay, well, sure. He's looking out for me. She's looking out for me. Why don't I go ahead and do that? And then what happens, right? Now they've got you admitting to drinking. They've got you admitting to coming from a bar. They have you with field sobriety tests, so you failed every single one. They're building the case. Yeah. Exactly. So, and then they take you, now they place you under arrest, put you in the back of the radio car, take you back to the station where you blow in or give blood. You blow into a breathalyzer or give blood. Now they've got that case wrapped up pretty tightly. Versus, officer, I'm not going to do any of those field sobriety tests. I'm going to decline respectfully your PAS device, but I will be happy to go back to the station with you and blow. A lot of people tell me, oh, I've talked my way out of a DUI ticket. And maybe that's happened, maybe it hasn't, but I'm going to go with it probably has not happened. Anyone that's had some cocktails, because you are going to go to jail. Whether you say no to those tests or not, you're going.
So, follow up, and it's along the same lines. So, if you refuse those tests, now does the DMV look at that differently? Because I know they have their own set of standards as far as allowing you to drive, right?
Correct.
If you refuse the field sobriety test and you go in, let's say you pop or you don't, does the DMV look at that different?
No. Now, having said that, not the field sobriety test or the PAS device, but when you get your driver's license, you sign your name on the back. You are agreeing to take a blood test or a breath test. And if you decline either one of those, your license will automatically be suspended for a year. Right. Period.
But out on the field, you can decline the PAS, what you call the PAS test that they carry.
Correct.
Or the field sobriety test. And then just tell them I want to go straight to the station, and I'll willfully give it to you there.
Correct.
Right?
Yes.
Okay.
And that will have no effect on the DMV portion. So if you get arrested for a DUI in the state of California, there's 2 fights that a lawyer has to have for you. One is with the court system, right, and the DA. Yeah. The other is with DMV. Right. On a first in the state of California, the judge doesn't get involved in your license at all. It's all DMV. Okay. So that's where that refusal part comes in. If you say no to that, you're automatically going to lose your license. What happens is when you're arrested for a DUI, you have 10 days to contact DMV to schedule a hearing that allows a lawyer to advocate on your behalf and try and save your license, right? And it's kind of a crazy system. It's an administrative hearing, so the standard is way, way low. And it's kind of crazy because the same person that advocates on behalf of DMV to suspend your license is the same person that makes the decision whether or not to suspend your license.
That's weird.
It's very weird. It's not the best system.
Lawyer and judge?
Yes, yes. Decision maker. So in order for us to win, they have to say, all right, you beat us. All right, Salberg, you beat me on that one, so I'm going to go ahead and give them their license back. So it's a little bit more challenging, and especially because the standard is so low. Criminal case, beyond a reasonable doubt, right? Highest standard we have in the land. Admin hearing, way, way down here. Not that tough to get over. Not that big of a hurdle to climb over for a DMV hearing officer. So, but very important, the distinction, Sabas, I'm glad you brought that up. Say no to FST, say no to preliminary alcohol screening device in the field is different than
refusing,
saying, I'm not taking any of your tests. And especially for those drivers out there, I mean, you got to give your lawyer a fighting chance. And if you absolutely deny all of that, what's going to happen? They're going to get your blood anyway. They're going to take your blood. Now they quickly get warrants from judges, and they pipe you.
Again, not legal advice, but what do you recommend? Would you recommend somebody getting set? Let's say they refuse the field sobriety tests and the breathalyzer in the field. What do you recommend they get?
So that's a great question. A lot of people, and there may be lawyers that have different opinions on this. And again, these are just my thoughts.
100%.
A lot of people, not even lawyers, but just people who are arrested think, okay, well, I'm going to go with blood because it's going to take longer for the blood tech to get to me, the nurse to draw my blood and things like that. And that may or may not be true. Sometimes it is, sometimes it isn't. But the manner in which your blood is taken, your blood is stored, your blood is tested is a scientifically accepted method.
Way more accurate than...
It's incredibly accurate versus a breathalyzer. Breathalyzers have to be calibrated. They have to be operated by someone who knows what they're doing. Inevitably, there's operator error or the machine isn't properly calibrated. It's easier for me personally to attack a breathalyzer than it is a blood test. So, now, sometimes people say, I had a case recently that involved a traffic collision. When I say that, I use that term loosely.
Constable, official VOCAP guidelines state we no longer refer to these incidents as accidents, then as collisions.
Right.
My guy was driving a very expensive car and kind of a race car with a 5-speed transmission, 6-speed, and as the light turned green, he went to go put the clutch in to put it in gear, and it rolled back 6 inches into another car. So there was no property damage, but there was a traffic collision nonetheless, right?
What happened, Daddy?
Traffic collision. Hey, why can't we say accident again?
Because accident implies there's nobody to blame.
So by the time the cops got there and investigated and people were everywhere, happened on PCH, it's kind of a big ordeal. They ultimately put my guy in the back of the radio car for a DUI, but also realized that they were running up against the clock of about 3 hours. You're supposed to have your blood or breath done within 3 hours from the time of contact. If that doesn't happen, there's some presumptions in the law. We can talk about all that stuff later. But they looked down and realized, oh gosh, we're coming up on 3 hours. So they put him in the back of the radio car and we're driving code 3 to the hospital. To get his blood. He said, I'll give blood. Yeah. So sure enough, by the time the nurse piped him, it was 3 hours and 12 minutes. So we're filing motions on that right now to see what we can do. I don't think we're going to win because his BAC was, even at that point, still pretty heavy. So, but those things happen, but blood is very, very precise. And again, there might be people who disagree with me about that, but I would rather attack a breathalyzer.
That's a way more exact science than a breathalyzer.
Well, I would assume that literally when they say, like, hey, it's better to get a blood, they're really banking on time.
Time.
Yes.
But how much are you going to sober up in that time, though? Right?
Well, 0.02 per hour, right?
Correct. Average metabolic burn rate.
So that's kind of what they're looking at. I really think.
But you start doing jumping jacks in the back of the squad car.
This is going to take longer.
You're handcuffed.
Well, I think we're gonna test. I think
let's have them.
We've all had one drink. Jeff,
have them blow.
I don't know if you're participating in
this
right now.
No.
So we'll do the breathalyzer and see where we're at, and
I'm
then
curious.
we'll make another drink and see how it goes.
And
So
and coming in, I'm completely this morning, and I'll say, because I personally feel eating helps you.
Oh,
right,
100%.
So this morning, I didn't eat.
Okay,
and I'll tell you right now, that one beer gave me a little head change. So I'm curious to see now if this is gonna.
John, you didn't either?
I did not eat.
Okay.
So.
And I don't know that John. I'd be curious if that was a 1.5 ounce pour.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I know.
Still zeros. So it's been, but you just finished that drink a couple minutes ago, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, and you're a bigger dude, so it's going to take a little bit longer for you. But let's give Sabas a try here.
See if that does anything. Could be, but I will admit that the one drink gave me a head change.
Yeah,
and I'm drinking vodka sodas.
I
so
agree. I
know.
had one drink. I didn't have anything to eat today. And that one definitely gave me a little bit of a head change.
All for science, guys. We're doing this for you.
You ever seen the Mythbusters episode when they do this?
Oh, is it good?
It's pretty good. I'll send you a link.
Yeah.
Oh,
where'd you go to?
I went to
Holy shit!
Where'd you go?
0.05.
0.05
It's
for
red,
one
dude.
beer?
For one beer.
Wow.
I don't know. Maybe this thing's not calibrated.
It could be.
I need to call Jeff Salberg.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's interesting.
Wow, that is interesting.
Wow.
I will do it again. Do it again and wait.
Okay,
Yeah,
let's do it again.
I'm curious. See if
that was just a mishap, right? Because that's almost.
Did you finish your
It
drink?
almost plays into what you
like
were
10
saying,
minutes
Jeff.
ago.
The inaccuracy of these devices is crazy sometimes, right? I mean,
and that's brand new, right? You guys just got
Brand
that.
new. Yeah,
Brand new.
this is the first time we've used it. Was this morning.
And this is something that people could, again, not saying go out and drink and blow to see if you can drive home safely.
No.
Right? But at least you have an understanding of where your body's at.
Yeah.
Because everyone's different.
It actually recommends in the instructions is like don't use this as a tool.
Yes, for sure.
Yeah.
Oh, it's that.
Wow.
Damn, dude.
0.05. One beer got you
So
beer?
one-
0.05?
One
And that was a
beer?
Bud Light?
That was a Bud Light.
Bud Light.
Yeah.
Wow.
That seems crazy.
George, let's see where you're at. Now
Okay.
let me try again. Now I want to know.
Yeah,
that
I want to
doesn't
see.
make
Maybe
any
he
sense.
fucked up. Maybe John's lying to us.
Maybe I am. Now I feel like Superman. This thing is off.
Point zeros?
0.12.
Oh, yeah, that's not right.
0.12.
Yeah, that's not. So, yeah, there's no way. I mean,
So to your point, the breathalyzers.
there we go.
Yeah.
Full of shit.
Try
Yeah,
it again.
there you go.
Damn.
Yeah, see if it pops the same. I'm curious.
That one beer just gave me a head change though.
0.14.
Damn.
Rising.
That makes no sense.
Yeah.
You didn't.
Well,
even-
we don't know exactly
You also
how
didn't.
heavy
You
your
also
pour
didn't
was
even
either.
finish your drink.
No, my drink's done.
Oh, is it done?
Yeah, no, I mean, it literally was one of those tall, so it's a shot and a half.
Oh, so
Oh,
that's pretty
okay.
One of the talls. I
Okay.
measured it out.
Okay.
Oh, that's good.
Oh, I thought you
Ours,
free poured
ours
it.
was ours also was 1.5.
Yeah.
Okay, so let me
1.5
let
and
me have
one-
a second beer.
Well, we're back from our break. Obviously we blew the breathalyzer to kind of see where the breathalyzer's off, like Jeff had said.
Big time.
It is quite off.
Thank
For some reason, I had one drink and I blew a 0.19. I don't know what that was about, but
Zeros before.
yeah, it was zeros before, and one drink gave me a 0.19 apparently, and it was
Then it blew zero after that.
1.5 ounce pour of vodka soda.
Yeah.
Right. But let's get into, I guess, protocol or steps. What happens after you get pulled over?
So, again, they're going to approach your car. I would have your license, registration, proof of insurance readily available to you because they're going to ask you for that. They're supposed to tell you why they pulled you over, what the probable cause was. And then they're going to get into it, depending upon the time of night or day, depending upon what you did, what the probable cause was. They're going to ask you about whether or not you've been drinking, right? Police officers, local agencies will often what's called poach certain bars, certain areas.
Which is illegal, right?
Yes, but they do it nonetheless, right? So
Prove it.
you can't just set up outside a particular bar and wait for people to leave, but they do. And inevitably, right, someone makes a mistake or changes lanes without signaling something stupid, and boom, you're going to get lit up. So they already know, right, that you're going to be deuce. So then it's just a matter of them building the case, which is what we don't want to necessarily help them with. Again, you should be calling Ubers and Lyfts, but in the event you think
Find
you're
yourself in this situation.
then this is kind of the best avenue for or thoughts for you to think about when you get pulled over. Have that stuff available, and I'm not a big fan of answering any questions because you answer one, you're going to answer another one, and it just snowballs. So you hand them your proof of insurance, your driver's license, your registration. First question, you got anything to drink? Officer, I'm going to respectfully decline to answer any of your questions, at this point. And if, based on what we kind of talked about, 0.02 per beer, depending upon how much you weigh, whether you're a man or a woman, and you can kind of figure out where you are. But the chances are high that you're going to jail. So you can either help them make the case against you and tell them that you were just leaving Lucy's Lounge, tell them that you had 2 beers, which they know isn't true, you know is not true, everyone knows it's not true. Yeah. But you've admitted to drinking, right? Where are you headed? They ask you how long you slept last night. When was the last time you ate? All that stuff goes into
I remember all those questions.
building the case against you versus they have nothing and you go back to the station and blow.
Or you can shut the fuck up. Basically what you're saying.
Yes. But you always have to do it. You know, a lot of people think, well, if I'm cool, they won't impound my car. Well, maybe. That's true. An impound is going to be about $500, but it doesn't matter. You're still going. You're going to go to jail.
Even if your car doesn't go to jail.
Yes. It's the way it works. So you can help your lawyer help you by not saying anything. Be respectful.
Yeah.
But
100%.
respectfully decline to answer questions and say, hey, you know, if they, I mean, don't just volunteer to go back to the station and blow. I'm going to respectfully decline to answer those questions, officer. And if they say, all right, get out, you know what I mean? I'm going to take you to jail. I think you're under the influence. Okay, I'll be happy to go back to the station with you and blow. Yeah. I'm not going to answer any more questions. No. All right, I want you to step out and do some field sobriety tests. I'll be happy to step out of the car, officer, but I'm not going to do any field sobriety tests. Respectfully, I'm going to decline those.
But just to be clear, I know we kind of went over it. That is not declining the test per the DMV
Correct.
language.
I want to make sure we're very clear about that. You're under no obligation to take that test, the PAS device, nor are you under any obligation to do any field sobriety tests. You are obligated, with the agreement with DMV, to go back and either give blood or blow in a breathalyzer. That you have to do. And if you don't do that, you will automatically lose your license for a year, and they're still going to get your BAC because they're going to get a warrant and pipe you and take your blood, and that's the way it's going to go.
Yeah.
So, and then a refusal can act as an enhancement with the DA. They'll say, oh, you know, this guy was a jackass and not going with the program. So there are enhancements and things that we don't necessarily want to deal with.
So, but that also is not refusal of the field sobriety test or the PAS.
You're perfectly entitled to that.
So they can't enhance on,
Correct.
on refusing that. Okay.
Correct. Yes.
Good to know.
So, and I think the one point we kind of spoke of off camera, Sabas, I want to make sure that I'm clear about that. Even if you are below a .08, you can still be arrested and, more importantly, be convicted of a DUI if you're driving under the influence, anything, a .01, but it affects or impairs your ability to operate that vehicle safely, and they prove it beyond a reasonable doubt, you go.
So that was actually kind of leading into my next question when you said if they prove it. So how do they prove something? If you're, let's say you blow a .02, like you said, or a .05, how do they prove impairment?
Right. So that's a great question. So it's subjective on behalf of the officer, right? So it becomes, then that's the triable issue of fact. Whether or not that officer's opinion, his professional opinion or her professional opinion that you were in fact impaired at the time of driving when your BAC was below a .08, that's what they have to prove. The DA has to prove. And it's based on, you know, certainly that officer's statement and testimony, but it could be the fact that, you know, the camera, the MVARs that are following you, if he or she is following you in the radio car and you are swerving, anything like that, all that evidence is going to come in.
To your point, because you were in law enforcement for a while, the fact that now they record everything, being respectful will take you a long way.
100%.
So when you decline to take that breathalyzer there or do the sobriety test, you be respectful.
Yes.
Yeah.
Because at some point they're going to look at that footage, and if you're being respectful and you exercise your right to go to the station and have those tests done then rather than there, it goes a long way. I personally have been in a situation where I was respectful and things worked out for the best. So, you know, it does go a long way. You can exercise your rights and still be respectful is my point. And you were in law enforcement. So I just want to put that out there. You know, just you can exercise your rights and be respectful at the same time.
And I mean, along that lines, I will say that, you know, and it's my own personal opinion. There are bad cops out there, but there's bad people in every profession.
For sure.
To me, I've always been very respectful. They're people doing their job, you know.
And it's
if you're in this situation,
it's a tough job.
It's a tough job. It
and
really
especially
is.
now with the craziness of the world and, the same people, and I'm not going to go on a soapbox and advocate for cops, but man, the same people that call 911 to ask for your help are the same people that start filming you the moment you get there.
They are.
You're like, wait, you're filming me. You called me to help you. I'm showing up to help you, and now you're trying to catch me doing something wrong.
Yeah.
I mean,
What's that entitlement?
there was a parade, and I forget what agency this was. There was a defund the police parade, and they called, and this officer, I remember, it was a video that I saw. He was taking a video of himself and posted on whatever platform and said, I'm working overtime right now. I'm literally working overtime because these guys who are having this big protest to defund the police asked for additional
police
support.
You're like, what?
Can you protect us while we
counterproductive.
You see,
your
right,
job.
those same people defund the police, and now crime's up, and you talk about MTA. We all hear those stories of people getting stabbed, and some guy stabbing his dog on the bus, and then telling people you're next, and everyone's in an uproar about where are the cops. Well,
You said defund the police. That's what they did.
what do you mean? You can't have it both ways. So
I'm not gonna lie. We've been to Oregon where the defund the police
Dude, that's crazy there.
is-
It's
oh, yeah.
has had quite an impact, and downtown
it's anarchy down there.
Portland is insane.
It's
dangerous
crazy.
It's
there.
crazy.
It's
It
dangerous.
really is.
But it's tough to, you're absolutely right. Be respectful. So many people are not respectful to cops now. And honestly, it's going to be on her body cam. If you are articulate in the way you say, hey, officer, I want to help you out, but I'm going to respectfully decline to do that test. I'm not going to do that test, but I'll be happy to, if you think I'm impaired or whatever. I mean, you don't have to say all that, but if you answer the questions respectfully, guess what? It shows that someone looks pretty lucid and pretty sober to me.
Yeah.
Right? He's not being a jackass or she's not being a jackass. They're having an intelligent conversation with this law enforcement officer saying, I'm going to respectfully decline those tests, but I'm happy to go back to the station with you and blow.
And even and this is just me personally, but even nowadays in this climate where we're at, like I am almost extra respectful because I feel like sometimes police officers come just guarded. Like, I don't know if these people are going to be
Well, they have to
combative
approach every
or
situation
whatever,
that
right?
way. Yeah.
For sure.
So I always try to be like, look, I'm going above and beyond to be respectful. Now, granted, like I said earlier, there's assholes in every profession.
Sure, absolutely.
But I always start there, always.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's we're going to have a whole different show about sobriety checkpoints.
Yes.
That'll be
Talk
next.
about that.
And I'll speak on what happened to me personally going through one. And I was respectful, but at the same time, I exercised my rights. And I got to say, a lot of times, this is just my opinion, sometimes officers don't know how to deal with that.
For sure, they don't.
Right? But if you're professional, you keep it civil, and you're not cussing them out per se, but it goes a long way. And when we get into that show, I'll explain what happened. But, yeah, they let me go because I kind of knew what I was talking about, but I was being respectful at the same time.
Yeah.
That's what it's all about. It does. And that, believe it or not, that actually helps everyone, right? It actually helps that particular officer if he or she didn't know. You talk it through with a sergeant, a supervisor, or someone, and go, okay, what the hell?
Yeah, the sergeant did come over because I requested the sergeant to come over.
So there you go. Nice. Now that officer is going to become a little bit better,
right? As
a result of that interaction with you. Like, okay, good idea. And then we're all human, right? I don't know everything about the law and everything.
Right.
We have to constantly learn, and we get a newspaper periodical called the Daily Journal, and in its constant updates on the law and different cases, certainly in California, but around the country, anything that could impact what's happening here, and it's important that you guys are up to date all the time, right? You're learning. You have to stay up to date on what laws are changing, how it's going to potentially affect you, especially as BAs. You're on the front line of all that stuff. Sure. Those guys are looking to you for answers. So So yeah, it just maybe made that cop a little bit better, and that's a good thing, right? Because now he or she can teach that lesson to someone else, or if they respond to an assist call with someone who's exercising their rights, and that officer that's dealing with it goes, and this other officer comes up and goes, hey, here's that guy's okay. It's true. We can't do anything about it. You got to let him go.
Because there are, I mean, potential lawsuits and all kinds
sure.
of stuff that come along with all that.
Yes.
You know, it's just you constantly, like you said, have to be learning. Constantly have to be learning, growing, whatever profession you're in, or you're not very good at that profession.
It was like one of the other episodes when I was talking about the kids I coach football or whatever. Yeah. Right, just get a little bit better every day. As human beings, if we could all do that, look how amazing we'd be, right?
100%.
Yeah. So that's a good thing.
Well, I think it's time to blow again.
Yeah, it's 2 beers. It's been about, I don't know.
I guess I'll go first.
How long we've been recording on there? Why don't you check real quick?
105.
Okay, so you've had 2 beers in about an hour.
But yeah, I'll be honest, I feel really buzzed right now.
2 beers.
Really?
2 beers, yeah.
You hadn't had any food yet.
Yeah,
I had no food.
And you haven't been drinking.
I haven't been drinking, like I usually do.
Man, this thing's all fucked up. It's 0 again.
Something's definitely not right.
That's kind of a bummer.
.19.
Maybe it's a cocaine you did.
Cut it.
That would have sobered me up. So what do you mean?
Smile right now.
Bob, you got to smile. You got to smile for Bobby.
Okay, we're gonna jump you in today. You better not tell Eric. All right?
Yeah. Totally.
I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing.
You guys are at panel. Do you go out have drinks at night?
Every now and then, yeah.
Not regularly, not all the time, but sometimes. We kind of got to be on point.
Yeah, I'm at 0.17.
Yeah, see, it's all fucked up. As Jeff said, these things are fucked up.
Well,
And they probably fuck up a lot
They
more.
can be inaccurate if they're not
than-
calibrated right, like he said earlier. Yeah.
Thanks
Just saying.
for articulating what I said.
It sounds like you've had a lot. Sounds like you've had a lot to drink there, buddy.
Jordan, I'm glad you did because he's a 0.19. Let me try this again. Oh.
Stop speaking.
0.16.
Hey, you're down a little bit now.
2 beers, 0.16. So wait, if it's steady. All right. Well, we're back from our break. We're on 3 drinks now.
Yeah.
Just to kind of show you guys, what happens. The breathalyzer, at least in this situation, this would be actually not a breathalyzer. This would be a PAS.
Correct.
Yes.
Correct. So the PAS in this situation is pretty much malfunctioning on us. It's way, way, way over. I think I blew a 0.19.
Yeah.
Salvas blew a 0.16, and we're 2.5 drinks in.
I wonder if we can get it to 9.99.
Yeah, right. Just kind of goes back to what Jeff was saying, and there is some clarification on this. So a PAS is different than an actual breathalyzer, which they do have mobile breathalyzers, right?
Some agencies do. So you want to ask, but if it looks similar to that, it's going to be a preliminary alcohol screen device, which you are under no obligation to take
from
that
either legally or the DMV.
Correct. From yes.
And the agencies that do have it, is it similar looking to this, or is
Yes,
it?
they're all kind of they're all similar to that.
But
yes.
when it's just more advanced in technology.
But you need to ask.
Yeah,
to,
I would
to
ask
clarify.
because you want to make sure, because you want to say, I'll be happy to go back to the station with you and blow. Okay. Now they might, because if they say, well, I've got a breathalyzer right here.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Then, all right, fine. But it's not a PAS device, right? You want to make sure you clarify. Is that you're under no obligation to take?
Interesting. So most agencies have body
worn cameras.
right?
Correct.
So
Almost all now.
if the officer were, because correct me if I'm wrong, you were in law enforcement, they can lie to you and say that it
Omit
is
the truth. Yes.
right?
Or you are under, it's just about the way we talked about framing questions.
Right.
And, right. So they lead you to believe that you're obligated to do it when you're not.
So in that case, if there was a body camera and he said, no, this is a certified breathalyzer, it's not a PAS, and he blows and he pops and you take that to court, would that give the attorney a fighting chance?
Of course.
Right? Yeah. Okay.
Absolutely. Yes. Because that officer, is not being honest.
Right.
That
Well,
their veracity is
It's
come
like an
into question.
integrity thing, right? So,
So, I mean, things we've gone over in this show. So we've gone over how alcohol, and I know we're trying to test it. Obviously, we have a little bit of a faulty PAS. But, we have how alcohol affects the average person. We've gone over protocol for when you get pulled over. Some of the other stuff that we might do in another show, we'll be talking about drugs, prescription drugs,
Yes.
For that matter, whether you have a prescription or not. And I would very highly advise all of you to read your prescription on your bottles. It actually says if it impairs you to drive a motor vehicle, whether you have a prescription or not, that's probably not a good thing, right, Jeff?
For sure.
yep.
Also, marijuana. It's huge in California. I know in a lot of other states at this point. Recreationally, it's legal, but those can all be brought into whether you're impaired to the penal code 8,
Yes.
correct?
Yes. Well, that, but there are specific penal code or vehicle codes for marijuana, for other drugs too. So, yeah, we'll talk about all that.
Yeah, so we can go over a lot of that stuff. But I will just say, I want to reiterate that we do not condone drinking and driving. That is not what this show is. We just have a lot of drivers, and myself and Savas, and of course Jeff, deal with a lot of DUI situations where, our drivers are potentially losing their jobs, potentially not being able to do their jobs for, a certain amount of time. And we definitely want to limit that. So that's kind of why we wanted to do the show, to just bring awareness. Please, Uber, Lyft, get a designated driver. There's so many things you can do at this point. You should not be in this situation, but we wanted to kind of bring light to it.
For sure.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
And also, we got to plug our brother here.
Jeff Salberg.
Jeff Salberg. He's in our
Western Conference Legal Trust.
Yes.
And we will put your information out
Please,
there.
yeah, if anyone has any questions, they can give me a call, shoot me a text.
If you
whatever.
were not listening to the show and you did get a DUI, please call Jeff. He'll help you out. Like I said, a lot of experience, prior LA County Sheriff deputy, attorney at this point.
Yeah.
But just a lot of experience, knows what he's doing. I will say that, again, please don't put yourself in that situation. But if you do, reach out. If you have a problem, that's a whole nother issue. Reach out to your steward, your business agent. Let somebody know. Get some help, please. If you are having problems with substance abuse, I want to plug that in there real quick. Anything else, Savas?
No, just to the fact that we have in our CBA, you have a right to get professional help outside of the SAP program. So, if my suggestion to all of you, if you would exercise that right, it's beneficial to you. The SAP program is basically for the company. And if you have any issues, please contact myself or John or George.
Or your local BA.
Yeah.
Yes. Or
I
your
know
local
it's
BA.
a lot of other locals. We forget.
And here on the Southwest, we have that where we have that legal fund. Not every local has it.
Correct.
But if you do, just please think about it. We had a member that we spoke to that we suggested to him to go that route, and he ended up going into the SAP program. And
It's been quite the ordeal for him.
Yes.
How many
I
years
will
is
say,
that? SAP program's like
Well, the SAT program could be extended for 5 years of random testing, but it's not just that. I'm more referring to the initial process of going through treatment, because they're going to make you go through either an IOP or inpatient, treatment, and the SAT program gets to add a lot of, prerequisites to you coming back to work that another program might not. And if it's your program and it's through your insurance, it's a lot better for you because you can kind of deal with those doctors. The SAT program is hired by UPS. They're there to catch you. They're there to keep you strung up and keep you out as long as possible because you're a liability at that point. Mm-hmm. So I will just say, just one of the things we touched on, please reach out to your local, get some help. You have the legal trust, which Jeff is in, if you are part of that, and you can reach out to your local to find that out. And you have, your own programs that you can go into that are a lot better than the SAT program.
And even if they're not a part of the legal fund and have that, I will still take care of them at a greatly reduced rate from what I normally charge.
Even better. Yeah. Just let them know that, you heard about him on the show. You watched a couple of his episodes. Just let him know he'll take care of you, even if you're not in the legal trust. So that's fucking awesome.
That's great. Sure. Thank you.
So one other thing I forgot to mention is that the fund not only covers the actual member, but it also covers the member's spouse as well as kids. And I believe it's up to 20 years old. So if your significant other gets a DUI or gets into trouble in any manner, please give me a call. Your kids up to, I think it's 20, and I can clarify that. And one other thing, since we're talking about kids, if you're under 21, if you have a kid that's under 21 and they get pulled over, there is zero tolerance in the state of California. So even a .01 for someone that's 20 years old, 364 days, they're going to jail. There is zero tolerance. So, big difference on that if you're under 21. But I can absolutely help all those people out too. So just so everyone's aware.
And the ones that don't.
And the ones that don't, for sure. Okay. Absolutely.
Well, you heard it here first. Just check with your local, see if you are in the Western Conference Legal Trust. If you're not, still hit up Jeff. He's going to take care of you at a great rate. Anything else, George?
No, I think
Any closing words for us, Jeff?
No. I appreciate you guys as always. Thank you for having me on. I always have a great time here.
As do we.
Love to talk and get information out there to the members and make sure everyone's safe, make sure everyone's informed, making good decisions. That's what it's all about, right?
That's right. And thank you guys out there in YouTube and Spotify world. Please follow us on Instagram, OCST.952. And
email us at ocst.000@gmail.com with all your questions, comments, concerns. If you want to get in contact with Jeff, hit us up. We'll send you his information. Also, make sure you contact your local BA and their legal trust fund if you have questions and comments.
And I guess we'll see you next week. Don't be drinking and driving.
Don't do it.
Definitely not.